Welcome back to my table. Some of you may recognize this. It's the stand and pendant I made for the final week of Live Wires for the Win. And in this video, I'm going to take you through the steps that I used to make this. But we're going to do a simpler version, starting off with this being the stand. And then we'll go on from there. This video will come in 3 parts. The first part will be the stand, the second part will be a pendant, and the third part will be the clasp. So, to get going, what you're going to need is I used 12 gauge aluminum wire and 24 gauge tinned copper. Well, that's what I'm going to be using for this one at least. Otherwise, I use silver coated copper wire. You'll need 2 pieces of the 12 gauge. You can't see because it runs off screen, but one piece is 15 inches and the other piece is 19 inches long. And then for the 24 gauge wire, for this step, you're going to roughly need about 8 foot of the 24 gauge. Now what you're going to do is going to wrap these two together with what I like to call a 4/6 pattern. And to get started, you take the longer piece, take the wire, you want to leave about 3 or 4 inches above the wire. You want to wrap 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. When you get that done, slide it to the other end. Easier for me to maneuver. You take your smaller wire, place it on top of the longer wire. You want to center it, the smaller wire in the longer wire, so you roughly have 2 inches on each end. Then you want to start weaving 5 inches in from the end of the smaller piece. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. This is 5. Slide it down. Now to lock it in, you take the short wire, wrap it 4 times. 2, 3, 4. Push them together like so, and then you take the end of the wire and you run it underneath the 4 that you just made, like so. Take your flat plier, pull it nice and snug. So what you have now is you got your 4 and then 6 around the thing, the lower bar. You want to snip off that little excess so it's out of your way. Now for the pattern. Like I said, you got started with 4, then 6. You want to alternate 4, 6 all the way down. You want to do it so there's 20 sections or 20 nibs. You want 20 sets of the 4 wires that go around both wires. So we got 1. So you go 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you go around the big longer wire 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you got 6 times. And then you just keep doing that, like I said, until you get 20, or actually you're going to need 22 of the 4. So you want to go, so you have 22, I call them bum sections of the 4 strips. So I don't make you guys die of boredom. What I'm going to do here is pause the video, and then when I come back, I'll show you how to finish off the end and what the next step will be. Okay, now that we're down to the end, finished with the 4, flip it over, and you tuck it how you did when you first started. Flat, pull it snug, trim it. Now, next what you do, or at least I do, is get it as straight as possible. And then I have these nylon tip pliers. Just go up the weave and just give it a soft squeeze. It actually stiffens it up a little more and makes it a little more rugged. Flip it and run back up. And it makes that area nice and snug. Now, you want to go on each end with the short side. Put it so you can see what I'm saying. The short length is on top. You want to bend that straight up. And then take the bottom one and follow right along with it for a 90-degree angle. And then you want to do the same on the other end. Take it, short side up first, and then the other side. And this is what you should have. Now for this next part, we're going to form the round base part here. With that, all you need is just a round object. It don't matter what you use, as long as you got something round to bend it around. I just happen to be lucky and have these pliers. Just hold it firm. Like so. Now, depending on what you use, it's not going to close all the way. That's fine. No need to panic. Just, in fact, you want them like that just for this next step. Now what we're going to do is work our way up the sides. The only reason why I didn't continue to weave is that it just makes bending that corner a little easier. So what you need is another length of wire anywhere. This is like 3 or 4 foot long. I just ripped out a piece. And again, we're going to start it the same way. Leave enough to tuck. And then 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I forgot to mention you want to use it on the longer, what would be the inside 2 pieces here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to slide that down. Make sure the tail is underneath the short piece. Slide it to the bottom. And what we're going to do first is, again, we're going to lock it in place. So just go a little end up from the crease. Go around 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's 3. 4. And then again, you want to tuck it under that first set of 4 that you just made. And then snip the excess as close as you can get it without wrecking it. And now you want to continue the pattern. Now, for this lower part, we're only going to go 5 sections. We already got 1, so we need 4 more. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then go around the big piece 6 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then, like I said, you want to go up 5 times. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause again. I'm going to finish doing this side and get this side started. And I'll show you how I finish this part. Okay, now that both sides are done, to finish it off, it's just like how we did the bottom. Take the end of the wire, you go under the last 4. Push it through, grab your flat, pull snug, and snip. Now normally when I made my big one, I would cut these to about 2 inches and then make swirls. But since we're doing a simplified base, we can just cut these off at about 3/8 to 1/2 inch. And then take your flat or round, whichever one you feel comfortable with, and you want to turn it a loop into back towards the middle, like so. And the same for the other side. Take it, make sure it's in there snug, and like how we did the bottom, now you just want to give a light squeeze on the side to stiffen these areas up. Now, the last part of weaving, we want to bring these together. Now what I do is I just bend them a little towards each other. They cross, but what you do is you take your pliers and then push towards the middle, but also twist up. You want to get these as close as possible, like so. And for the last stretch, you want another, just a hair over roughly 4 foot of 24 gauge wire. Now we're going to start this off differently. It don't matter which side you use, but instead of doing the 4, we're going to wrap the 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then pull the short down so they're both like that. And then you want to slide this all the way down till it touches. And then just leave that where like that. And now we're going to start that 4-6 pattern back up. So we go 4 around both. 2, 3, 4. And then 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 4 again, 4, and again, just repeat the pattern. Now this time, count for your first one. On this top section, we want 12. So you did 5 down here, now we want 12 sections of the 4. So what I'll do is I'm going to pause again, and I'm going to take it up to the 12 sections, and then we'll show you how to finish off the stand. Okay, now that we got the 12 sections done, finish this off. Now we had the short end down there. We just want to take it and whip it towards the back. Just, yeah. snip it. And if you still feel a little edge, just take your pliers, give it a little squeeze to push it down. That part's finished. And I think you know what I'm going to say here next. Take the wire, tuck it in the last 4. Pull snug. Snip. And again, stiffen up the light squeeze all the way up. Stiffen up the backbone. Now at this part, you want to make sure you're straight, which we are. Now to finish it off, you want to go down 4 sections. You want to make a bend in between section 4 and 5. Basically, you can do just by hand. So you look like this. Now, on top, it don't matter which side you use first, but we want to form the loop that the pendant's going to hang from. Just take the wire, bend it back on itself, so you got a circle like this. Just keep giving a little pull till you get the desired diameter. And now take your flush cutter and just give it a snip. You want to give enough room so that the 12 gauge will fit in there. Like so. That's probably a little too big, but that's no biggie. Just turn it in a little bit, and then you want to straighten this so it runs parallel to the wire that you bent it from, and then you got your gap. And then this wire, you want to measure from your last point here. You want to go about 2 1/4 inches, 2 inches to 2 1/4. Mark it, cut it off, and then you want to make a swirl. I always use the flat because with 12 gauge aluminum, it's just easier to make sure you got a firm grip. And then just turn it. I like to get as tight as possible. So use the very tip of the pliers, turn it back on itself, and you want to go down towards the pendant. Get started. Now here what I do, just give it a little squeeze to try and close the gap. And then Now I'm using a round nose because it'll fit the hole easier. Just keep turning it in on itself. You want to keep turning till you get past the hole, and then you just take your flat plier, grab the top wire, and just fold it back on itself, like so. So your front now looks like that. And there you go. You just made a pendant stand. So that'll conclude this part 1 video of how to make the stand. The next video, part 2, we're going to focus on making a pendant. So until then, remember, be good to one another. Later.